Did you know some angels were never sent to protect humanity? They were sent to watch us, and what they saw made them fall as a low, haunting piano begins and a slow, distant wind rises. Long before kingdoms and wars, before cities and history, a group of angels called the Watchers descended from heaven in silence, not in glory but in secrecy, walking among humans, studying our fear, our love, our weakness, and something inside them broke as soft echoing choirs drift through the air. They whispered forbidden knowledge into human ears, teaching men how to forge weapons, how to spill blood, how to conquer, teaching women rituals of power, enchantment, and secrets hidden from creation itself, teaching humanity how to read the stars and summon forces that were never meant to answer us, and with every truth they revealed, the world grew darker, more violent, more broken, until the Watchers crossed the final line and took human wives, and from that forbidden union, something unnatural was born. As a deep rumble shakes the silence, the Nephilim, giants neither angel nor man, beings of terrifying strength and endless hunger, roaming the earth, devouring everything, turning humanity into prey as distant thunder rolls and fear fills the air. Heaven saw what had happened. God saw what the Watchers had created, and judgment came without mercy as heavy chains echoed through the darkness. The fallen angels were seized, bound, and cast into a prison beneath reality itself, locked away where light cannot reach, waiting for the final day. And the giants, the Nephilim, were wiped from the earth by a flood meant not just to cleanse sin, but to erase their bloodline forever as rain pours and the world drowns in silence. But something survived, something that still walks among us today. The spirits of the Nephilim did not die with their bodies. They became wandering shadows, whispers of hatred and hunger, what we now call demons as faint distorted voices crawl through the background. The Watchers are chained, the giants are gone, but their influence still moves through our world, through temptation, through forbidden knowledge, through the darkness you feel when you are alone. And now comes the most terrifying part, because in part 3, you will see what these giants became after the flood, how their spirits learned to possess humans, and how some of them are still walking the earth right now. So if you are brave enough to see what heaven tried to erase, subscribe and comment 100 so you don't miss the next revelation, because once you hear what the Nephilim became, you will never look at this world the same way again. And that is because when the flood washed their bodies away, it did not destroy their spirits. It only freed them. And as the rain fell and the ocean swallowed the world, something invisible rose from the waters. Something furious. Something starving. Something that remembered what it was like to rule the earth as a deep, low drone hums beneath the silence. These were the souls of the Nephilim. No longer giants of flesh, but giants of shadow, wandering the broken world, searching for vessels, searching for humans to wear, to whisper into, to corrupt. And this is why ancient cultures across the world all spoke of spirits, demons, possession, and unseen forces. Because they were not myths, they were echoes of something far older than history itself. And as centuries passed, these wandering spirits learned how to enter the minds of men, how to twist desire into addiction, fear into control, anger into violence, turning humanity against itself while soft, distorted whispers creep through the air. And this was exactly what the fallen Watchers wanted, because even from their chains beneath the earth, they could still influence the world through the offspring they left behind. And so wars continued. Kingdoms rose and fell, and blood never stopped flowing, not because humans were evil, but because something else was pushing them, something unseen and ancient, something that once walked the earth in giant form and now walked it in spirit, and heaven could see it happen. But there was only one thing holding the darkness back, the final judgment that had not yet arrived, because the Watchers remain in prison, waiting for the day they will be released. And when that day comes, they will not come alone. They will come with every spirit that ever served them, every shadow that ever fed on humanity, every remnant of the Nephilim that survived the flood, and the war that began in heaven will finally spill fully into our world as a deep rumble slowly grows, And this is why the Bible speaks of an end times battle, not between humans, but between forces older than the earth itself, angels who fell, giants who died, and spirits that refuse to fade. And if you think this world already feels dark, it is only because you are sensing what is coming, something the ancient prophets warned about, something even angels fear. And in the next chapter, you will discover who leads these wandering spirits now, and how Lucifer himself uses them to prepare the final war. So, if you are brave enough to hear what comes next, stay with this series and watch the next revelation. Because once you learn who truly rules the shadows of this world, you will never feel alone in the dark again. And that fear is not random, because the Bible warns that before the end, knowledge will increase, darkness will feel heavier, and humanity will sense something approaching without fully understanding what it is. And this is because the forces released after the flood never stopped working. They only became quieter, more patient, learning how to hide behind systems, behind power, behind influence, until entire generations began to forget where the darkness truly came from, as a slow, ominous piano continues. The ancient prison beneath the earth was never meant to stay sealed forever. It was designed to hold the watchers only until the appointed time, and that time is tied to human choices, wars, bloodshed, corruption, and the moment humanity aligns too closely with the rebellion that began in heaven, the chains weaken, the seals crack, and the prisoners begin to stir. This is why ancient prophecies speak of angels being released in the last days, not to protect but to punish, not to guide, but to reclaim what they believe was taken from them. And when that release happens, the spirits of the Nephilim will no longer hide. Possession will no longer be subtle. Influence will no longer be invisible, because the war that began before humans existed will finally move into the open. And this is the part most people never consider. Humanity is not the target of this war. It is the battlefield. And every generation moves the conflict closer to its final moment, a moment when heaven intervenes one last time, not with warnings, but with judgment. And if you think this world already feels divided, unstable, and heavy, it is because you are living in the buildup, the final pressure before release. And in the next revelation, you will discover what event unlocks the prison beneath the earth, who breaks the ancient seals, and why even angels fear that day. So, if you want to understand what is coming before it arrives, stay with this series, watch the next chapter, and comment 100. Because once you learn how the final war is triggered, you will realize that humanity is standing closer to it than anyone ever imagined.